Alrighty, good day everybody. We're back with our 1 to 70 or 1 through whatever level we end up with the end of the campaign. Solo self-found series. So we're at the Grim Tangle where we left off last time, and we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. This area is one of my favorite looking ones in the game, honestly. But it has some kind of annoying enemies in it. Only two new ones for this area. It's the fungal proliferators, and there's like a little one that shoots little mushroom clouds at you. The fungal proliferators will shoot like a line of projectiles at you that will detonate and leave a dot on the ground. Like that. So if I go step in those, they'll detonate, leave a dot. Same dot as when they just blow up after you kill a regular enemy. So a lot of dot on the ground in this area. These yellow things will detonate if you walk into them and do damage. It's not a lot of damage, but it is noticeable. There's fungal artillery shooting little clouds. Obviously anything that shoots is priority over anything that doesn't. It's a lot easier to avoid things that do not shoot. There's a lot of tight corridors usually in this map layout.
Thunderous shot.
So it's a little spooky. Just take it nice and slow. A lot of the enemies look like more fungusy, but we're not really concerned about that. It doesn't really change anything. It's just, you know, keeping with the theme of the area, right? Looks all like nasty and corrupted, whatever. It's kind of just the theme we're going with. A couple areas in the game do this where like they kind of reskin like the basic enemies, you know, kind of like the part for the area they're in, which isn't like a new monster, right? But I mean, I like the attention to detail. Makes it a little bit more immersive, I guess. Is the word for that. Another level. So from here, we went and got Honed Instincts. So like I said in one of my previous videos, if you're trying to look for specific things for your build, I can just type in lightning, which is what I'm doing, and kind of see what's around. So this is lightning penetration, and this also gives 10 dexterity, so this is going to be pretty good early. Some more lightning nodes up here. Okay. So these might be pretty good to grab. The only problem is we don't do cold, but I mean, yeah. It's only 8%. The 15% lightning pin might be worth getting, honestly, just for that. So this is going to be chance to shock and attack speed. That's good. Crit chance against shocked enemies, magnitude of shock you inflict with crits. So these two are going to probably be must-haves, I think, and because it's just, these are both going to be really strong. So shock is going to be a debuff that we're going to be applying consistently throughout, pretty much throughout the build. My plan to scale shock and lightning for damage, and for everything else, the plan to scale evasion. The meta right now is energy shield, but energy shield builds I don't really care for. I don't like the way like energy shield like functions. It feels a little slow to recharge, and you have to like invest a lot in energy shield to make it good. Evasion is just kind of something you can kind of take and forget about. So I like it more. Energy shield builds really just aren't my cup of tea. That being said, nothing wrong with it. It's very strong. As of this video, anyways, they're very strong. So nothing wrong with doing that. Everything else, though, let's see what we can find. There's going to be skill speed and electrocute buildup. So something important to note about lightning builds is there's two different types of lightning ailment. One is electrocute and one is shock. So electrocute is kind of like a stun, and only certain things apply it. So this might be worth taking. We're not going to take this right away, I don't think, though. Each type. So this is going to be elemental damage, chance of shock. So for new players, elemental damage basically means damage of any element. So lightning, fire, or cold. It does not include poison. So that's just going to be 8% increased damage. So that's really good. 15% increased damage for each type of elemental ailment. So if we have like something where we ignite enemies and shock them, then they'll take 30% increased damage. This will be really good for single target if we can make like, if we can get like some type of chill or ignite. Maybe from like a little bit of flat fire or something on our weapon, we might be able to get something worked out there. But even so, that's 15% is pretty good, so we might just go ahead and grab that anyways. Spreading shocks, I probably want that. This is electrocute buildup. Other than that, we definitely want catalysis. So this will give you a little bit of fizz damage taken from hits as a random element, as long as more elemental damage. So that's just really good in general. We'll probably come over here and grab this Falcon technique. Stacking dexterity is already kind of good because then you don't have to really go into accuracy to make sure your attacks are actually hitting enemies. So it giving you attack speed for just doing dexterity, which we're already going to have a lot of because all of our gear requires a ton of dexterity, is just going to be a really solid choice. And you can already go right here and grab 25 dexterity. This gives 8% increased, so we're going to grab this. We might go into acrobatics, but this is a node that I won't go into until late in the game if I do at all. But as you can see, there's plenty of lightning nodes around. The key ones are really going to be over here though. This is a lot of shock chance and lightning pen, and lightning damage with non-critical hits is lucky is incredibly good. It's the way damage works. For new players yet again, is if you see that fizz damage and the fire damage and it says 2 to 4 or 7 to 14, every time your attack hits an enemy, it kind of rolls a dice and decides on a number from those. So it could be 2 and 7, or it could be 14 and 4. So that means if your chance is lucky, that means it basically rolls the dice twice. So, and it takes the best of both options. So that's really good. So we definitely want this. We definitely want, you know, some of these as well. Just a lot of elemental damage. And then we'll take, obviously, a lot of evasion on the way there. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking of right now is where we're going. Oh, forgot to even apply my skill point. Whoops. But we're gonna go ahead and go for the pierce here.
Thunderous shot!
Alright, there's not much story-wise in this area. So, there's a boss that you can do. He is optional, so if you want to skip him, go for it. If you're not confident when you're fighting a boss, like you don't feel like you're strong enough, you can always come back later, unless it's like a main story boss. But even then, you can go farm a different area for a little bit, go gamble, go pick your vendors for better gear, do different things, I guess, until you feel confident. This boss doesn't particularly give any good rewards. He just has like, he can sometimes drop decent stuff. He gives a guaranteed support to him, I'm pretty sure that's like the special thing. Which is fine. He teleports. He teleports, he shoots these projectiles at you. As long as you stay moving, they're pretty easy to avoid. You can rapid fire them like that, and you can teleport. He sometimes tends to kind of slap at you. He'll summon this rock right here. Throws it. That's his most damaging attack from a single hit. I don't think I've been one shot by it. I must have been killed, I think, once by his little shotgun attack that he just did. He does being greedy. Very greedy player, as you're going to find out. But no risk, no reward, right? I will be a little greedy here and tank the slam to go ahead and kill him. Take all of that. We got a belt. Belt's pretty good. We don't have one yet, so we take what we get. 6 strength, not really what we want. But 9 reduced flash charges used. That's not too bad. The more flasks we have, the more safety we have when fighting bosses. I don't generally use too many flasks, or at least health flasks going through an area. Flasks will, you can recover charges by killing magic and rare monsters, and bosses, obviously, and from checkpoints. You can also just go back to town at any point and get more. So clearing an area, you really should never have any issue. It's only really during bosses that flasks are going to be an issue, especially if, like, you know, you're at a point in your build where you don't have a good weapon, you're not really kind of, I guess, well prepared, and you're just kind of trying to force your way through. Then you can kind of get stuck a little bit and not have a very good time. Alright, so we're in the graveyard now. So, I guess for the story portion of this, Mr. Lachlan here, he's very sad, very confused, because the Immortals, as he calls them, locked his family behind this gate because they kidnapped him. So we're going to go kill the Immortals, and
Take this!
I guess they're not so immortal, just kill them, but, you know, whatever. Or Eternals, I guess. It's either Eternals or Immortals, as he calls them. They're not so immortal if we can kill them, but, eh. Then we get the keys and free his family. All the bosses are required, so there's going to be, I think, 3 total. Nothing too crazy, but, you know. This is the first one, Tomb of the Consort. There's also, there's a couple different, there's 2 different tombs. It doesn't really matter which one you go in first, you can go in either one. This area does have some kind of annoying enemies in it. Little guys that shoot little ghosts at you. They will slow you, they do cold damage. They do hurt quite a bit. Death Knights, these guys, they do kind of hit hard. They have a special ability where they slam the ground and it does like a little AoE. It can be kind of spooky. So, just be careful in that area. There's a couple different ones in here as well. So the tombs have most of the same enemies, but they have a little bit of difference between both of them. Night Gaunts, they look scary. They're not. You got some skeletons that shoot fireballs. They're not super scary, but in numbers, the amount of projectiles can do quite a bit of damage just in general to you, so it's not, I wouldn't underestimate them, I guess. Because yeah, they're basic skeletons, but if there's enough of them, man, they hurt. These guys, the Eternal Knights, they will block projectiles and kind of I guess, parry you. Like, if I shoot one when he has his shield up, he'll shoot like these little projectiles at me, and they do a lot of damage. They're kind of built to counter us, so projectile spamming characters, which is all of our attacks. So the way you get them to drop their shield is just honestly get close to them, and kind of just make them attack, then they drop their shield. They don't shoot the projectile. Dread Servants are the other dangerous type of enemies here. They summon more skeletons, and they can have pretty nasty little AoEs that they can do. So those 2 enemy types I would focus over everything else in this area. And then being skeletons. Night Gaunts I would only focus because they're kind of big and get in the way. Not because they're dangerous, they kind of just body block you. Which can be dangerous in its own right, but it's not something that's super crazy, scary. we're just checking everything as we go. And just looking for anything of value. You don't have to, I wouldn't clear, I would never advise full clearing an area, like killing everything, checking every little corner. But I mean, if you see like a blue or yellow chest, it's only a couple seconds of time to just go check it, you know. This is a checkpoint. This event or quest or whatever isn't in the game yet. Still get the checkpoint though, I guess. So you get a heal and more flash charges. So it's early access. That'll be a quest sometime later.
Storming arrow.
Whenever they decide that they want to add more stuff. What's kind of crazy is that the Eternal Guards, they kind of have, if they, little procs from my projectiles on the ground, even though they aren't technically projectiles, I guess, it still procs their shield and shoot me for a lot of damage. That's kind of crazy. It's a lot of damage for that. I don't know if that's intentional because they're not being shot with a projectile. Or if, maybe I am hitting them with projectiles because it does pierce. But even so, that's a lot of damage for that. Which is the point, obviously, but that's blue. It's fire resistant, which doesn't let me much less. He just has extra health. That's good. Anything that's lightning resistant right now will probably take us a decent amount of time to kill. I actually got super lucky finding the boss this early. It usually takes me a long time in these areas because I haven't quite. They're procedurally generated, as I've said before, and the boss, I haven't quite figured out which direction they like to spawn in.
Leave this place.
I'm not sure if it's just completely random. I'm pretty sure it is. So this is Ashina, the Praetor's Consort. There's these big AoEs, they look scary, but you can literally just walk out of them. Just like fallen spikes, a lot of little melee swipes here.
Me!
Right of the fourth moon.
So we just keep walking. Roll out the last one. So she slows you.
My love, I
When you
call
summon
to
that
you.
bone wall, you do need to break it, you can just shoot it, hit it with anything. That's where the most dangerous attack is, where she picks up all the projectiles.
Right of the fourth moon. Insolence! My love, I call to you.
So she can summon her boy toy and also her projectiles. She also summons the Eternal
Oh,
Guards.
escape!
She doesn't do the Eternal Guards too often. Whenever she does the projectiles, I would advise just rolling immediately, and mostly it's going to kill you unless you get really unlucky with the pattern. Because the danger there isn't that the individual projectiles hit really hard, it's that they shotgun really well.
Fury!
You see, they kind of have like a little AoE when they hit the ground, and when they have a little AoE like that, if you get hit by all of them, you'll kind of just get one shot so quickly that you don't really have time to deal with it.
You are mine forever!
Okay, and that's about it. Pretty easy, pretty smooth.
May your name be forgotten by the
Feeling
clans.
pretty good so far. No deaths as well. But don't feel bad dying to any of the bosses. I mean, they're bosses.
Sorry,
Everybody dies to them sometimes, even if
Please,
like, you know, you're
take your
a really
time.
experienced player, you can still die to like super easy stuff just because you get overconfident. Happens to me all the time. This is max life, lightning resistance. That's pretty good. Lightning resistance. This doesn't have any resistance, but it has life, and our first one's honestly super basic. Okay. Yeah, we'll just take that, and there we go. And we'll disenchant those three.
Stay safe, if you can.
So when we have affinities enabled on our special tabs, like this little symbol means your affinities are enabled, right? You can you don't have to be on, I don't have to be on this tab to deposit my my stuff. So if I wanted to deposit my Scrolls of Wisdom right here, I could be on this tab. Control left click, and it deposits them there. So yeah,
I
still
heard you had Till
thing that
next
makes
time.
managing your stash easier. But we gotta have more of these, more sockets that we're gonna get rid of a little bit later. Let's see, we have another support gem. I don't know. I want Lightning Arrow to be a little bit better. So, you can click all gems down here to see different things. There's also a search bar down here, so I can type in anything with lightning. I don't know why my caps lock is on, but you know. Innervate is pretty good for clearing, because the thing is with this is you have to kill something to get the damage bonus. It's a lot of damage, but you can't always guarantee that it's going to activate during a boss fight, because not all bosses have ads in them. So it's really good, but it's mainly for clearing. Lasting shock and conduction. Conduction we might put on. Lasting shock is definitely going on Stormcaller Arrow. I might put conduction on Stormcaller Arrow as well. This increases shock duration, you know. Lightning Infusion is definitely an option here, but kind of want to scroll down and see. I think I know what I want, but I'm just double checking to make sure. I know what all of these do, but you can feel free. You can read all of them. It doesn't cost anything to just sit here and go through them and kind of figure out what you're thinking about doing. I sort of already have a plan for what I want, which is why I'm not really reading all of them. I think I want Martial Tempo. This is a very strong skill. 25% more attack speed. So when something says more, it's basically double. So think like 50% increased attack speed is an easy way to just consider it. Increased and more are two very different modifiers. So increased damage is just what it says, like 20% increased damage, 20% increased attack speed, whatever it is. It's significant, but it's not as significant as more. 25% more attack speed is huge. So this is a very, very big support jump. Which the fact that it's not recommended is kind of strange to me personally, but I digress. Not a big deal. Unleash, Second Wind, Spell Cascade. I think, yeah, Martial Tempo is pretty much what we're gonna go with. I do Martial Tempo here. Just have a lot more attack speed. Then we're just gonna teleport right on back. Cemetery of Eternals. I'm not going to go through the dialogue with the NPCs or anything. I'm just going to skip all of it because I've seen it a lot. I play a lot of hardcore, so I've started the campaign quite a bit. So going through all that makes it so I've more or less figured out what all the dialogue is for the quest and what I can skip and what I can't. If it wants me to actually sit there and listen to all of it, I'm not opposed to it. But for expediency's sake, I just skip it. So, now we're looking for the other tomb. Fight she was summoning her lover, Draven. Now we're gonna go fight him. He's a little bit harder in my opinion. She's kind of like a caster. Primarily, he's more of a melee-focused boss. These enemies here, the Burdened Wretches, are probably the most dangerous enemy in this area. They have this big statue. They do big old slams. The slam does tons of damage, and it goes in a big line. And like I said, you can't iframe. You can't dodge through them. Slam attacks, even from regular enemies. Let's see if I can get him to do a special attack. You can't iframe them. you have to just be out of the way. He's not doing a special attack. He's being rude to me. It's unfortunate. Trying to showcase a point, but I'm sure I'll try to iframe through one at some point and eat it, die, and everybody can laugh. Including myself. It's pretty funny. But Undertakers, they shoot lots of full projectiles. They don't really track very well, so that's kind of the balance to them shooting a lot of projectiles. But Bird and Wretches are definitely more dangerous. The Hungering Stalkers are really fast, small enemies. They don't have a lot of health. They don't hit very hard. They're just fast. This is a rare. I would advise killing all rares if you can, because rares have a higher drop chance for like good items. Rare items for currencies, extra gold, you know. Nothing super good, but that's kind of the dice roll. Frost Wraiths do cold damage, they shoot projectiles, they hop around. They're mostly just annoying, they're not super dangerous. They're super weak to fire too, so I mean if you're playing a fire build, they kind of pop super quick. When you are hovering over an enemy's health bar, it'll tell you what they're resistant to and what they're not. So like Undertaker, you can see that gray, cold, like little snowflake. That means he's resistant to cold damage. If it's like red, that means he's weak to it. He's not weak to anything, and he's resistant to cold. So if you hit him with cold damage, it's gonna be less effective. That it's orange, that means he's very resistant to cold damage because he's a cold enemy. The red means he's very weak to fire damage. So it's kind of UTLDR and how to like understand, hey, what is this boss or what is this enemy do, like what am I looking at in terms of like damage resistance? That's just a basic view of it. I'm sure there's like somewhere maybe you can find exact numbers, but I don't think I've ever felt the need to go that far into going, oh, like I need to like change my entire build around what this specific enemy is weak to so I don't have to deal with it. Because most of the time, by the end of the game, you're going to be killing everything. Even like things that are resistant to lightning, I'll be killing them relatively quickly anyways. As long as I build the character relatively well. Which I guess is the surprise. We're going to find that out together if I know how to build a character or not. Just joking. I do know how to build characters pretty well. Even ones I haven't played before, like this one. Not having very much luck. Sometimes the game does that to you. You just go around, but there's nothing. You can go around looking for stuff. Oh, it was right next to... Well, actually, no, this is just an event. This is a small event that you can do in this area. No enemy spawns. It gives you a ring. I don't have a ring yet, so... Excellent. More mana. Take more projectile damage while we're here. Keep on moving. Oh, is it actually just up here? It is. Man, that's unlucky. Super unlucky. Oh well. I got XP for it. Not a big deal. And we're moving right along. You can see Forgotten Riches up here. That's another event that's just not finished yet. Or maybe it's going to be a quest. I genuinely don't know. It's going to be something like that. His skeleton shoots lightning. He also has lightning wraiths in here, which are just lightning wraiths and frost wraiths. He has little blood cretins, so little dudes. Courtesans are a little spookier. They float around, they throw blood spears, and they can detonate the little cretins to like leave pools of physical damage over time on the ground. So they're more dangerous than the cretins are by far, but they usually hide in the back. Blood spears do hurt. They can't actually bleed you though, I don't think. I've never been bled by one. So, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever been bled by a courtesan that didn't, like, wasn't a rare that had bleed on it. As you can see, Lightning Wraith is not taking very much damage from me. Because he's a lightning wraith, so he's very obviously resistant to fire. But he still dies all the same, just takes a little bit more effort. So. go. Draven usually is somewhere around like the middle of the area here. Or at least he tends to be for me. I still haven't quite figured out where the tombs are 100% of the time. So forgive me. Not being 100% exact with that, but it is how it is. Game's still relatively new. I know there's probably somebody out there who's already mapped out literally everything about every area. But that's not me. I'm just a guy who enjoys the game. Yep, somewhere in the middle of the area. That's where it is. Love to see it. This boss can be pretty hard. He does have some pretty dangerous attacks. This is usually like the first people encounter with the game. Has a friend who took multiple attempts here. I think my first playthrough I died to him once. I died to him a couple times since then as well. That attack right there, little shotgun, so if you're close to him, he does it. The projectiles can't do a ton of damage to you. You can iframe the projectiles and the attack itself though, so you just gotta be careful and go and just time it right. Don't take any damage. That slam does do a lot of damage. He kind of does a big telegraph as you see this. As you see, he summons Sinya to cover circles. Same method will be just fine here.
Your meaningless life ends now. Your intrusion will be punished.
He does like to yap. I guess so do I.
Servants, obey.
So, fair enough.
Cut down.
Ow, same, yeah. I did not do right. I got hit by the attack and a projectile. Killed me.
Will never surrender. Your meaningless life ends now.
Oh, we're just moving right along. Make sure we keep up our dodges. Keep up our dodges. Okay. We have to get far away from him. Get away from the wave.
Your intrusion will be punished. Your meaningless life ends now.
So he can do one or two. Later in the fight, he starts doing two. Pretty much exclusively, I think. But that's just to be expected. Got a lot of moving parts here with this fight. He's like, I would consider him to be like the first truly challenging fight, even though I don't think he's super hard.
Arrogance.
Because you can only get one shot if you really get unlucky with how his projectiles and his attack line up if you're standing in front of him. So he's not too bad. The third fight of this area is going to be a little bit more challenging in my opinion, because he's a little bit scarier, at least. So at least for new players, I guess, from what I've seen, this boss is a little bit more difficult. Let me just make sure I don't have anything interesting that I want put on there. Okay, no, we're good.
Isabel, Torko, Callum, the family of Count Lachlan of Ogham. My family! This doesn't make any sense! They're dead! Those bastard Eternals! I must make them pay! I must make them suffer!
Alright, this is Lachlan. Surprised he's very upset. And he also does tons of damage. So this boss can be pretty difficult, especially for new players, because your first instinct might be to get away from him, but getting away from him is pretty bad. He does a lot of spamming like the ghost, and they leave a little trail on the ground that's cold. He does big slams, but you can kind of bait him into these like weak little slaps. And when he does these weak little slaps, I mean, he's pretty easy to just kind of get on top of him. Even with a ranged build, I would recommend doing this. I wouldn't recommend trying to fight this guy from far away because he'll spam these ghosts at you. See? Yeah, and that ghost hit me, slowed me, and that slam hit me at the same time, and I didn't have enough time to heal. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We just try again. Unfortunate. We almost had him. Got him this time. I walked into the slam. You don't want to get hit by like a big spooky arm. Hit you with a small arm, honestly not that big a deal, right? Little weak slaps. I'm very bad at timing that particular attack. I don't like this attack at all because it summons that ghost that covers the whole area. And
Fury!
being slowed against this boss, especially early game, is just really bad. It's super hard to deal with because we don't have any movement speed. And he does that big slamming from far away from him, that is a wave. Cannot knife through that. Almost caught me with the same thing as he did last time.
I knew
And
something
he's
was
dead.
This
Iron
pose,
Curious.
this was a
It's not
mercy.
really what we're looking for. Pathfinder Cloak might be good though. And now we're at the hunting grounds. But first we're gonna go back to town. We go through this area. And Clearfell.
Spirits in the eye, held all a little. So you pay them a visit. Watch yourself.
So let's see.
Take a punt. You know you want to.
Evasion rating and lightning for this. Not quite high enough level for that though. That's fine. Alright.
Remember us
Cool.
when you're famous, eh?
That will be better. This is more stuff to disenchant. So, Orb of Transmutations, very good. Do I want level 3 Lightning Arrow or Lightning Rod? I think Lightning Arrow, I guess. Take Exalts and Orbs, that'll come in. So this, we'll let her go ahead and unbind him so he wakes up. Very fancy particle effect animation there. Very pretty. Love the visuals of the
I
game.
don't know. It's in my
Except, you know,
this.
What is he?
So
basically a lot of exposition about how the antagonist, the beast of the story or whatever, is you know, doing bad things. I mean, it's
Sorry.
pretty simple. This is actually pretty good, but we don't have the strength, and it's not really worth committing a bunch of strength to our character just to use this. Although that is a really good chess piece for early in the game. That is a shame. But we're gonna
This
go check
one,
vendors, see
Take
what
a
we can
look.
find, if there's anything worth buying. 9 to 13, it's not really good. The fizz damage roll is actually pretty decent. Fizz damage is what we're looking for, because if you look at our skills, right, this converts 100% physical damage to lightning. So even if we just have physical damage, then it still gets converted to lightning. So we can scale physical and lightning and still do really, really good damage. And you can get higher numbers of fizz than lightning. So look for fizz first and lightning as second priority. This converts 40% of physical damage to lightning, so it still does physical for the most part, but it does lightning as well. Stormcaller arrow converts 20% damage to physical, fizz to lightning. You know, already seeing that. So with this, we're just gonna take escape shot out at this point. I think I don't really want to use it. We're just gonna put it in gems just in case we change our mind later.
What have we got? Take a look.
Um, evasion rating, lightning resist. Now this is the same thing on this one, but this has a higher base of evasion rating, right? 107 versus 35. Much more evasion rating on this chest piece, so we're gonna keep that. Now this is movement speed.
Oh, that'll
So
keep you
boots,
alive.
honestly, even though this is rare, it has rarity. Rarity is really good because it'll make better quality stuff drop, get resistances, increased evasion, really decent mods. But for boots, movement speed is just honestly so much better. I don't even care. We'll just disenchant
Go
these.
well.
Like anything,
Hello.
I would advise having movement speed over a decent rare almost
Bye.
at every point in the game. Like movement speed is so nice, even now like it feels so much better that it's not even comparable for me. Like I would take movement speed every day of the week.
Charge arrow.
So in this area, we got some apes. As you can see, little ones aren't dangerous. The big ones have slams, so they can be kind of scary. But I would advise hugging the wall, just going all the way around the area. Several things we need to find in this area, including a boss and a couple different doorways. There's these things called roas. The big birds that just run around and will attack you. They're not very dangerous. They're a little tanky sometimes, but not a big deal. I guess he decided he couldn't fit and had to walk around. Kind of fun. These things are little crabs. They shoot venom spines at you. They're kind of really annoying, especially in big groups. The burrower things right there are like small versions of the devourer. They're not nearly as dangerous, but they are tanky and can get in the way. They do kind of hit hard. You let them. Their spit attack is more dangerous, so you can just, you know, with anything that's ranged, get close to them, and they have a much harder time hitting you. Bunch of little monkeys. I want to check. Okay. Just gotta keep it moving. Checkpoint. Okay, Ogum Farmlands is where we're supposed to go to progress the story. I would recommend grabbing the waypoint. Checkpoint doesn't matter, because this area is gonna reset before you actually come back, most likely, unless you're just crazy speedrunning. At which point, you're probably not taking advice from me, anyways. I recommend going back, because there's still several bosses and other things we need to do here first. So, some armored crabs. A lot of damage to them. Need to get them away. Go. Just keep following around the edge of the map. The reason I'm doing this is because the Ogum Farmlands and the other area we're going to are almost always on the outside of the map, and the event for this area is also on the outside of the map, so they're in random places every time. Sometimes the farmlands down here, sometimes not. Kind of just depends. So it varies greatly, but you can guaranteed pretty much just walk around the edge of the map and get where you're going every time. crabs alive too long, you take tons of damage. One of the stories, don't let the crabs live very long. But we don't have a crazy amount of damage yet, so I mean, it just is what it is sometimes. So, just keep on moving, keep on moving. Artificer's Orb, that's really nice. We'd love to see those. Love to see, like, abilities more. Checkpoint down here. This is an event, this is completely optional. This big bear enemy, very spooky boy. Random mods on Trail of Fire and his minions, which they have the minion tag on the cover of their health bars. Take damage for him first before he takes damage. Which is fine. The Trail of Fire is honestly more dangerous because I like staying close to enemies. To kind of get them locked into that little thing where they just kind of slap at you. They don't really use abilities, they'll just slap at you. Getting around the slaps is a lot easier than sometimes taking like a crazy amount of damage from an ability they might use. So that's the Freythorn. That's where we're going to go because that's the side quest we got. Travel to the search for Freythorn above the Underground, the ominous altars. That is what we're going to take care of. I would recommend doing this quest before going to the login farmlands because it's honestly a very important quest for the story and for your character as well, I guess. It's not really important for the story. It's a side quest, but I would say it's mandatory. I would never skip this quest. Never ever. It's super important and you get a permanent buff for your character from doing it. I would never recommend skipping it. This is the boss of this area. Super nice that he's here. Then we can just walk. We can just teleport it back over super easy. This is Bird. Love Bird. Super funny design to me. Just a big guy with a bird head. Pretty funny guy. This is a traveling boss, so you fight him here.
You won't escape.
You fight him in this area, and you fight him in the next one. He basically just does a bunch of punches and slams. He's not super complicated. See, he's like all cranky now. Very intimidating, that's for sure. So during like this phase, you can still hit him. Like, see, we're doing like, you do like, he has like 90% damage reduction or something like a crazy amount. He basically picks up a bell because that's his choice of weapon. Honestly, pretty based. I would love to be able to use a bell myself. That's pretty cool. I get some new attacks with it. Nothing too crazy though. It also just has some cool sound effects. Attack is a big like double sweep. So it's not anything too crazy, you just get behind him. And he goes down like a fat kid on a seesaw.
Screaming anymore, are you?
That's pretty easy. We're looking pretty good. Alright, we're not quite there yet. He gives you a weapon specialization book, so something to explain here is with weapon sets. So if I open my items, you have two tabs. I can have two different sets of items, right? So I can have two, switch to it. I can put something else here. You do not gain the benefit of, go back, what are you doing? All right, whatever. You can flip-flop back and forth between weapon sets with the press of a button pretty much, or you can even program like, if I want to do like poison, I can have a bow that has like increased poison damage on it, something like that, right? And I can you know, have when I use a poison skill, it automatically switches to that. Likewise, when I can have this set to like if I want to use like weapon set 2, I can have separate passive points to an extent for those weapon sets. So if I'm saying like, hey, I want to go down here and grab this lightning damage because that's what I'm doing, but maybe I also want to set up some poison damage on a different weapon set, I can have some weapon points that I can allocate to go over here, take out these points and go over here instead and do poison damage. So this lets you do a little bit more creativity with like the way you set up your build. Me personally, I don't have anything in particular for this build that I really want to do with weapon sets. So in this case, they're just extra passive points. You can obviously, of course, do whatever you want. If you want to double it up, do some crazy like, oh, I want to do lightning and cold, or I want to do lightning and fire. I want to do like lightning and poison or lightning and bleed. You know, go off. You can even do different weapon types if you have the stats for them. I mean, you can switch to a staff and use some staff skills. Switch to a hammer, do a big slam. You know, sky's the limit, honestly. That's the cool thing about Path of Exile is, you know, you can do literally almost anything you want. But so far we've taken a lot of damage. I really want to grab some defense, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start pathing towards some. And just go ahead and grab these dexterity nodes. Cat-like agility is really good, because I mean, if you dodge rolled recently, recently refers to the past 4 seconds, and if you hold Alt while you're hovering over this, it'll tell you that. If the little dotted underlines there, you can hold Alt over whatever the thing is, like down here. Defenses, energy shield, evasion, and armor. Block. It'll hold like a little TLDR of like what that mechanic or what that thing is for you. So this gives a ton of evasion rating. Gives you dodge roll pretty often. I mean, I'd say pretty close to every 4 seconds. So that's pretty great. Very good defensive node. Oh. There you go. Switch back to my weapons. Don't want to just run around with no weapons at all. So, we're at the Wraithorn now. Didn't want to shoot one. Clicked on everything. Alright.
What's this feeling?
There you go.
It's as
And,
though the trees
I mean, that's about it
themselves
for
are
this
watching.
episode. Thanks for watching. I will catch y'all on the next one. We are currently level 10, moving right along. Next episode we'll probably do the Wraithorn, the farmlands, and the area beyond that